Hello and welcome to an hour-long special, The Faces of the Carolinas. I'm John Lee. We here at Queen City News pride ourselves on telling you stories that are rich in characters. We strive to paint a vibrant picture of the cities, towns, and communities you call home. Now, my expertise is finding the people you might never hear about and then introducing you to them through the magic of words put to video. Hope you enjoy the stories I've gathered along with our talented photojournalists. It is my honor to be here to bring you the best of 2022. In the next hour, you'll meet people who are the epitome of courage and grace, from the veteran whose business feeds his passion and others, to the man whose near-death experience has him working to save lives every day with every single beat he counts, to the little girl we're going to begin with. They say in difficult times you find out who your friends are, and sometimes those friends might even be strangers. A Huntersville family learned that lesson after their little girl was diagnosed with a brain disease. Here's the story of Ella.
It really just brightens up her day.
It's a beautiful thing when the community circles the wagons.
How many bobby pins, Lila?
To lift someone's spirits.
I know what horses do for kids.
At Lennox Stables, owner Brooke Vanderspey harnesses horsepower with humanity.
But he loves this. This is his job in life, to make little kids happy. Hi!
It's Ella McKee's big day.
Hey, we got a unicorn for you today. Little Ella comes to the farm because she loves the horses, and they make her smile and they make her giggle. Oh, you're a unicorn today too. Oh, so pretty.
Ella's here with her dad, Jesse.
See if he'll come to you. Say, come here, Stormy.
When she gets really excited, you see it through her entire body. So she gets this big smile.
Oh, more kisses, more kisses.
Hey, Stormy also has very special shoes.
This visit is a welcome distraction.
When we first found out about her diagnosis, it was obviously depressing to say the least. And the community really rallied behind us.
Wait, you're gonna throw it too?
At home, a rare genetic brain disease is the elephant in the living room.
Every day, the thought of her disease creeps into both of our minds.
In 2019, doctors found that Ella has what's called vanishing white matter disease. The estimated life expectancy is between 5 and 10 years old. Ella is 5.
Obviously, just devastation.
The moment Ella's parents were told, her mom, Heather, went blank for a moment.
Everything just sounded muffled after that. And we sat in the parking lot and we cried. And the biggest thing that we tried to get over was, how do we tell her brother?
Now, family time is precious but fleeting. Vanishing white matter disease impacts everything from movement and speech to mental and physical development.
For her, we don't know how many days, how many months, how many years until the disease really takes a hold of her life.
At an unsure time, there's one thing they can count on.
She needs to know that everybody in this community is behind her. He likes you, Ella.
So many people have made her happiness their priority.
Honestly, it has gotten us through this time that has just absolutely rocked our world.
The outpouring is always full of surprises. Lennox Farms dressed up Casper the horse as a unicorn, just for Ella.
You want to ride?
Do you want a riding?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do?
Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yay! You got your unicorn.
Any sort of opportunity that can just put a smile on her face, can't put a price on it.
There you go.
The trot helps the McKee family take their mind off the unsettling trail ahead.
Is that fun? Do you feel him going back and forth? Yeah. You are sitting up so good on him.
Everywhere she goes, Ella lights up the room. Her mom and dad believe she can also shine a light on a little-known brain disease.
Is the greatest thing that I think that we can do for the disease and for other families here.
At the same time, the focus is on filling Ella's days with experiences of a lifetime.
So it's just so much bigger than the horses.
She is so special. There's a drug trial underway to treat vanishing white matter disease. Unfortunately, Ella is not eligible for it. But the McKees are hopeful the trial yields great results for others. Now, from the young to the old now, longevity comes with great wisdom. Two Mount Holly women have lived through 15 presidential administrations over the course of their combined 195 years. On the week of their birthdays, they reflected on the friendship of a lifetime.
It's clouding up.
Fair weather friends come and go.
Oh yeah, it is. It's gonna rain this evening.
But the best buddies stay beside you, rain or shine.
I'm gonna put on my jacket. No, I ain't got my jacket out here. Look, it's coming up a storm. Oh, look at that. I'm thinking about that big tree right there.
Edith Mack and Margaret Johnson have been friends since FDR was president. So you can understand why they're comfortable together, even when they're uncomfortable.
My butt feels like I've been sitting on rocks.
May 4th is Edith's 99th birthday. Margaret turned 96 last week on April 27th.
Now, I feel good for my age.
Their friendship chemistry never gets
I
old.
tell you,
We talk every night.
A good friend is
We
closer than a brother.
talk.
Somebody you can talk to.
Yeah.
We
You
talk.
know,
We
talk
talk when
to-
everybody's
yeah.
gone at night. She's in the bed. I call and say, "You in the bed now?"
Yeah. And then
She said-
sometimes we talk a whole hour.
A whole hour?
Yeah.
What do you talk about every night?
Oh, so much stuff going on and everything.
Don't tell it all.
Both have fond memories growing up in Mount Holly.
We didn't have much, but the good thing about it, we had each other.
So many, people moving in and so many houses being built until it's just a different place.
But for Edith and Margaret, the constant has been their connection. Especially important after their husbands passed away. Margaret was married to Jacob for 61 years. Edith married to William for 45. After they died, the women leaned on each other.
All I have to do is just call her. And when we get to talking, we done laugh so much until we both feel good.
Born in the 1920s, they've got simple advice for living right in the 2020s.
Don't go around with people that that get you in trouble. Go to church.
After all, they did that, and
Life was good.
That was good.
folks showed appreciation for those lives well lived.
Hey there. How are you? I'm doing good, and you? I'm good.
They each celebrated their birthday in their own way. For example, Margaret had a small family gathering, while Edith had a cookout and fish fry in a pot that's some 200 years old.
So, Father, we ask that you will bless this food that we're about to receive, and it's going to be nourishment to them and us. You say, how is the fish?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
At the end of the day, Edith gravitates toward her perennial pal.
We always talk about the weather.
For generations, they've proven to be the opposite of fair weather friends.
Let's see that big tree right there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about that because if it pulls up out of the ground, it'll be right, take the whole house.
Don't worry about that tree.
And in any climate, their sisterhood is something to treasure. Precious BFFs. Now, Edith and Margaret have a combined 15 grandchildren and 29 great-grandkids. We wish them both happy birthday as they inch closer to 100. Now, staying in Mount Holly, over the summer, a Gaston County man turned heads with his guitar. His smooth playing style sometimes stopped people in their tracks. Turns out the story behind this music man is even more compelling. At a retail shopping area in Mount Holly, what you see is mostly what you get. On the other hand, what you hear is a supersonic surprise. Whether you come to pick up groceries or a pizza. What you get is a slice of showmanship.
It's amazing that one person can make music like that.
Music is a gift.
I'm out here to give them a show. I'm an entertainer.
Even in the heat of a cruel summer, Anthony Southgate wears a suit. This busker says he always means business.
I take it real serious when I'm out here playing. I'm just out here making noise. I got a passion for music.
He can only see his audience in shadows, but the one-man band plays on.
I was in Little Caesars and she told me that he was blind.
7 years ago, glaucoma robbed him of most of his eyesight.
I proved you can do everything that your mind is doing, whether you have vision or not.
Folks who know Anthony say his motivation to play is straightforward and heartfelt. We learned more at the Faith, Hope, and Love Community Enrichment Center.
Here, go up another one right here. Okay. You got a few to go this time.
You done this before?
This is not the stairway to heaven, but to Anthony, it's a step closer to something divine.
Every time the doors are open, he's here.
I don't know what I do without the Lord.
Pastor Moses Colbert says when Anthony's not playing for tips in Mount Holly, he's got a standing gig in Gastonia.
He comes to church, he plays religiously.
God's the reason why I'm still here. I've been through a lot in my life that I shouldn't have still been here.
Along with glaucoma, Anthony's endured a bout with drug addiction and homelessness, but he didn't lose sight of his faith. Pastor Colbert marvels that Anthony somehow gets by without any government assistance.
He wants to go out and work and earn his own money, and I said, well, Anthony, you're totally blind. You really need these resources. So I've been talking to him. Hopefully I'm softening him up a little bit to let him, so he can get some help that he so desperately needs.
God's allowed me to do what I'm doing. That's why I haven't taken that route.
Everywhere he grooves, Anthony clings to what he believes is a God-given gift.
It's not so much about the money. I like the way people react when I play for them.
And that sounds much like a man who marches to the beat of a different strummer.
I just don't give up. I got a very strong will.
The greatest guitar player on the planet.
Amazing. Since he lost his eyesight, Anthony believes his musical ability has actually tripled. He says he owes it all to a higher power.
I took pride in what I did. I took pride in our country. And people just didn't like me for who I was, what I stood for, but I'll never back down from that.
Still to come on Faces of the Carolinas, a veteran who says the joy he gets from customers means more than he could ever put a value on. And the streets in the Carolinas will have you humming to familiar tunes as legendary faces trigger fond memories. A local veteran says he is as proud of his work ethic as he is of his country. But rolling up his sleeves is about more than just money. It helped him move past the worst day of his life. And now the disabled vet hopes his story enables others facing similar hurdles. It's hard to put a value on a hard day's work.
I want to back this car up a little bit more. I'm supposed to go there by 5.
Ron Argabright got his entrepreneurial spirit from his dad. Now he passes those same values along to his daughter.
Don't accept no for an answer. Get up in the morning, put your shoes on, and move forward.
At local venues like the Bethel Fields community, folks know him simply as Ron the Snack Guy.
Now we're ready for some customers, baby. Good boy.
With service dog Bear by his side, Ron sells products that are mostly made in the Carolinas. Tasty varieties of cookies, nuts, and popcorn.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing? You doing all right? Which one did you get? That's strawberries, bananas, blueberries. You really like that. Oh, the bear claw.
For some reason, that just tastes and feels amazing.
I want to thank y'all very much.
The transactions are all smiles. Well, except when a little boy leaves wanting more.
Sorry about that.
Great heart, always wants to support the community. He himself is a disabled veteran.
You see anything you like? Those are brownie.
The sweetest part is that every exchange takes his mind off a traumatic time that in some ways feels like yesterday.
I had some really bad things happen to me while I was in the armed forces. So this gives me a reason to like get out and enjoy life.
His healing process remains a work in progress after nearly 40 years.
I was accosted and beaten.
The words are still hard to say.
It's not very fun, but life goes on. You know, I don't use it as a crutch. And I'm trying to show my daughter that life isn't always fun. You just have to deal with it and move on.
The former Marine says 4 men attacked him outside Camp Lejeune. They beat him unconscious, left him in a ditch with a fractured skull.
I don't understand it.
He struggles with PTSD and anxiety.
I was doing my job. I took pride in what I did. I took pride in our country. And people just didn't like me for who I was, what I stood for. But I'll never back down from that. They could torture me and set me on fire. I'll never back down.
He spent decades with those raw emotions. Filling orders helps him focus on something besides his painful past.
Just lay those there so they don't get damaged.
Ron says it took years to find a sense of inner peace. And believe it or not, that peace came in the form of a small business that has been anything but business as usual.
It gives me something to do. It gives me something to be happy about. It gives me something to make other people happy.
He puts himself out there every single day to be able to provide for others, and the reality of it is that he doesn't let those challenges stop him.
Well, I want to try some of your amazing products.
Ron's labor of love is a welcome distraction, and that's worth more than most of us could ever imagine.
I'm about getting out and seeing people smile.
It's great to tell stories that give you a reason to smile. We have more coming up on Faces of the Carolinas. You'll meet a charismatic man who changes lives because he understands firsthand the value of CPR. Plus,
9 times out of 10 can't believe it because they're like, how? Did they live for their entire lives and not know? And that's why it's important for me to do this.
the Carolinas are the birthplace of many of the most popular musicians. How one man makes sure you're reminded of that as you walk down the street. North Carolina is home to countless musicians who touch the world. Across the Tar Heel State, an artist does his part to highlight men and women who are an important part of our nation's soundtrack. The latest example, a towering thing of beauty in Anson County. In small towns like Wadesboro, the stereotype is that everyone knows everyone. So it's surprising when lifelong residents are blindsided by a local claim to fame.
It's just like, wow, we have history here.
It just seems like this is a pretty important thing.
Scott Nurkin gives places across the state a point of pride. Way up high, his elevated work in progress is an instant source of curiosity. Olivia Tucker was in awe of the larger-than-life figure going into place.
The highlights, the details on the clothes, the guitar, and then how big he has it.
Scott hopes natives step back and learn to take in the town's past.
This is Blind Boy Fuller. He was a blues musician.
The 1930s guitarist was born right here in Wadesboro.
That's dope as hell, bro. You from here?
He's from here.
Oh, he ain't know that?
Yeah, he was born here.
Painted the hell out of that, bro. I'm telling you, you dope, man.
9 times out of 10 can't believe it because they're like, how? Did they live for their entire lives and not know? And that's why it's important for me to do this.
Scott, who's originally from Charlotte, also plays music. Nearly a decade ago, he created the NC Musician Murals Project, painting pieces in towns where those legends were born. They're funded through municipalities, private donations, or crowdsourcing efforts.
So I got the idea. I'm a mural painter. I love musicians. I love music. If I could go to these towns specifically and paint them, that would be fantastic.
His work commemorates the likes of Ben E. King in Henderson and Ronnie Millsap in Robbinsville. His John Coltrane mural is in Hamlet. Randy Travis is on the wall in Marshville. The artist doesn't just want passersby to want to love his murals forever and ever, amen. He hopes each piece conveys a little North Carolina history that many aren't even aware of.
I thought, why did I not learn about this in 4th grade North Carolina history? That should be as important to me as finding out about Sir Walter Raleigh.
In Shelby, there are two, Earl Scruggs
This sea of heartbreak
and Don Gibson. There's Roberta Flack in Black Mountain. Nina Simone in Tryon.
You know how I feel.
There are now 13 across the Tar Heel State, including Blind Boy Fuller. And people in Wadesboro stopped to shake the artist's hand in appreciation.
It is very, very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I appreciate you saying that.
You don't hear many people that came from here.
Oh, y'all are very sweet. You made my day. Thank you, ma'am. It's really gratifying.
The project is a creative source of civic pride, and each mural makes you imagine if walls could jam.
I'm not joking, ain't gonna tell you no lie. I want a piece of your goodness by you.
In the next 30 minutes, stories of survival. Up next, a man who cheated death and counts the beats to help others live longer too. Plus, if any man can, Spider-Man can. Proof positive, it is possible to find your inner superhero. You're watching Carolina's own Queen City News. Our special, The Faces of the Carolinas, continues right after the break. Welcome back to this Queen City News special, Faces of the Carolinas. We have the stories of survivors in the next half hour. A Charlotte man is a living, breathing example of triumph. Nearly a decade ago, his basketball career ended abruptly with a near-death experience on the court. But now he has found new life with a mission that is bigger than sports.
I did not see the light, but I was at peace.
We've all heard that time is of the essence. The understatement of a lifetime, especially when it's your life on the line.
There's a lot of things I don't remember.
At places like Queen's University, Omar Carter's story breathes life into a teachable moment.
So I went to App State. I played college basketball, and I also played professionally. The response that I have got from telling my story helps me continue the mission. And I had a cardiac arrest. My heart stopped for 13 minutes. I was in a coma for 3 days. I was passing it to my friend, he passed it back to me, and that's when I collapsed.
He went down in July of 2013 during a game at the Grady Cole Center in Charlotte. Carter says most were afraid to help because they weren't CPR certified.
So clinically speaking, at 13 minutes that my heart stopped, I was completely dead.
He recalls a sense of peace during that 780 seconds.
I was on the beach, just kind of relaxing, and I remember just necks being at, kind of fenced in almost at a Fisher-Price play area.
During that time, ICU cardiac nurse Kelly Thomas was among the few who came to his rescue and did chest compressions and quickly got help to locate a defibrillator.
3 days later, after I woke up from my medically induced coma, the doctor said it was like it never happened. So I woke up, didn't have to go through any rehab. I started my mental journey, if you will, to recovery.
As an athlete, he once assumed he had all the time in the world. At Charlotte Christian, he played with close friend and now NBA legend Stephen Curry. After starring at Charleston Southern and Appalachian State, Carter competed professionally in Brazil. But the cardiac arrest was the end of his career.
My mother was trying to figure out, okay, how can I get my son back active? right? How can I get him out of this depression, out of this slump of what I went through? She said I should start a foundation. When I hear the clicking is a couple of things. One, that means I'm going deep enough.
And today, the beat goes on.
As a fellow athlete, I don't want to scare us, right? But there are real life situations that happen.
The Omar Carter Foundation raises awareness about cardiac health, providing CPR and AED education to athletes and anyone else willing to learn.
Bystander CPR is just basically you and I able to teach CPR if somebody were to go down. Certification is more so for lifeguards, anybody that's in the hospital. And that's what we're teaching them today, just to do something rather than nothing. So if we could pair up to a dummy.
The Queen's University softball team attended one of his 45-minute sessions on campus.
We're just faking like this is a live person.
And you might say the class was rated BG.
And then I just go to the beat, Staying Alive. My singing is terrible, but I'm going to sing for you. It's just ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive.
Just, I feel like taking his bad situation and making sure that everybody is educated.
Y'all ready to walk?
Yeah,
let's walk.
Let's do it.
Recently, the first Omar's Walk at Queens U helped spread his message.
This is near and dear to like a lot of our hearts. I met a couple of survivors.
October is Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month.
You had your cardiac arrest October.
I see. I like to kickstart things. I like to really get into
it. Look at you.
At the event, we overheard a poignant exchange.
But just what happened? Because I always like to hear.
Omar hears the story of a fellow survivor.
It was like a perfect storm, the doctors call it. So I was down for about, I had the phone call. I was 6 minutes, 27 seconds out.
Wow.
3, 2, 1.
So far, the Omar Carter Foundation has given CPR training to close to 20,000 people. That includes student athletes at Queens University, Davidson College, and App State. Cardiologist Dr. Rohit Matha is the foundation co-chair.
The big thing is, less than 40% of people who have an arrest actually get CPR. CPR is cheap, easy, simple to do, and profoundly impactful.
Omar's walk went on for a symbolic 13 minutes. Now, in basketball terms, that's 1 minute more than a quarter of a pro game. Omar has made the most out of the years that, in a sense, feel like overtime.
My life is to where it needs to be, and that's educating others. That's being able to teach CPR and AD awareness. 3, 2, 1, switch. But to be honest with you, I think it's more than that, right? I think it's being an example to, when something tragic happens, you don't have to just, wallow to the side, kind of be in your feelings. We're gonna do it one more time.
Most of us who would have something as catastrophic as this wouldn't recover from this psychologically for a long time. And for him to be able to recover that quickly, I think is a testament to his strength of will and kind of his big heart.
So you want to try to get the click because that means you're going deep enough.
That's powerful to me just because he's turning something that could have killed him into saving possibly millions of lives.
For a man who devoted so much of his life to basketball, the pivot is powerful.
There is meaningfulness outside of what you thought was going to happen. What I thought was going to happen was basketball, and I was able to go down this path.
Now he races to empower as many as he can to save lives. Because as he's learned, time is of the essence.
3, 2, 1. Okay, we can stop.
Heart of a champion. Carter's focus is on training athletes in CPR at first and hopefully branch out to other students at Queens University and other campuses. With great power comes great responsibility. In the case of a Charlotte man, it took a traumatic event before he eventually found his inner superhero. Now he uses his alter ego to make people smile. If anyone can, this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man can. They say not all superheroes wear capes. This guy next door puts on his onesie one leg at a time, like everyone else. It takes a few zips to transform into a webmaster. Spider-Man gave us eye-popping access.
My buddy Peter Parker works at the Daily Bugle, but today I'm here with my friend John Lee from Queen City News.
But clearly, I'm no Peter Parker, and this is no garden variety Spidey.
It's nice to unwind a little bit and smell the roses, so to speak.
Superheroes have an origin story that explains how they got their powers and why they use their gifts for good.
The whole reason for getting into Spider-Man was to turn something that impacted me so negatively into something positive.
Hey, I'm Dustin Clark, aka Spider-Man.
Dustin's Spider-Man origin story goes back to December of 2017.
I got hit. I remember feeling as if the whole car was like spinning, like 360s. I was in a car accident.
A vehicle rammed into the driver's side of his car on Highway 64 outside Pittsburgh.
A lot of my injuries were invisible in that I did have back pain, neck pain, headaches, and a concussion. And unbeknownst to me, I also was later diagnosed with PTSD from the accident, depression, and anxiety.
Along with the physical injuries, the crash had a lingering impact on his mental health.
So car horns, whether it was me hitting it or hearing it, instant, like, what's going on, flashbacks.
While getting help for both his physical and invisible injuries, you might say he found wisdom on the web.
You're like me.
And when I was watching the movie Into the Spider-Verse, they had a line about, no matter how many hits I take, I always get back up. And when I heard that, I was in the movie theater and I was like, oh my gosh.
It was almost like he was bitten by a radioactive spider.
So then I decided, okay, well, once I get some of my insurance money for this accident, I'd love to maybe buy a suit and I can give back to the hospital and go visit some sick kids.
He bought 4 Spider-Man suits, and cosplay became his healing hobby.
So I wanted to give back to the community after such a challenging life event.
Because of COVID restrictions, visiting a hospital wasn't an option right away. But that didn't stop him from suiting up and making appearances wherever he could. On Instagram, he goes by Spider-Man NC.
It's certainly cool because I get to see how excited they get.
Last month, he finally made his web slinger debut at Levine Children's Hospital.
They want to run up, they say, Spider-Man, and they're running up, giving me high fives, hugs.
Can you take a photo together?
It is so cool, and to know that I can like brighten their day a little bit, especially when they're going through those circumstances.
Dustin says it's important to be open about his mental health struggles.
Because there's such a stigma around mental health. And if I can share my story and help normalize it, I think that's going to help continue to bring it out into the open.
And by unmasking his vulnerability, he shows a degree of courage worthy of any superhero.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And Dustin says you don't have to wear a Spider-Man suit to be a superhero. He urges all of us to do something, no matter how small, to brighten someone's day. Still to come on Faces of the Carolinas, a woman runs toward purpose with her head held strong and high. Plus, a group of teachers in Lincoln County show us what loyalty, family, and community really mean. A Charlotte long-distance runner draws stares and double takes wherever she goes. As she treks at marathons across the country, she also raises awareness of a rare autoimmune disorder that she used to be ashamed of. Here's what made her run towards a new sense of purpose.
A lot of people assume that I'm sick.
Everyone runs for a different reason.
You will endure the stares and the comments.
This is not just the fastest way on feet from point A to point B. To some, it's a test of fortitude.
And like when it gets really, really tough, I feel like that's where I really thrive.
For Lindsay Walter,
It's just like my me time.
it seems only fitting to hit the ground running at Freedom Park. Because this is the pace that sets her free.
I feel the most like me when I'm running.
And that's a powerful sentence for someone who spent most of her life trying to outrun how others see her.
But I think it's just people also not being aware that like for some people, bald is the norm.
Lindsay has alopecia universalis and has a complete loss of hair on her scalp and body. No matter how fast she moves, scrutiny and cruelty often follow.
There are definitely a good handful of negative, kind of not so good feelings of just people kind of staring and doing like a double take, which can even like to this day is still kind of hard to stomach sometimes. It's just uncomfortable.
She lost her hair when she was 2 years old.
I wore a wig for a good 20 years.
To Lindsay, the constant cover-up was almost like an exhausting race with no finish line in sight. Growing up, nobody she knew looked like her.
It was very isolating and difficult just not knowing anyone. I was bullied and teased a lot.
And when she grew up to join the basketball team at the University of Minnesota Duluth, a wig was standard equipment, and a few other hacks.
I used double-sided tape to help it stick to my head, even like wig glue.
The anxiety she endured, it's hard to wrap your head around. Always worrying, what if it falls off in front of everyone?
And I remember like just freaking out and trying to like pull it forward and readjust it during the game. But yeah, it definitely was a huge fear of mine.
Long distance running turned out to be a game changer.
So I ran my first marathon my senior year of college.
She wore her wig to the first event, but eventually was empowered to put it aside.
The more I was running, the more I was crossing finish lines, I gained a lot of confidence in myself.
From there, Lindsay was off to the races. Her personal journey, not a sprint, but a marathon. She just kept running and running and running some more. To paraphrase Forrest Gump, well, if she was going anywhere, she was probably running. And as she darted toward more self-confidence, she didn't want to leave others with alopecia behind.
And I just kind of just like had this idea of a way that I could just like give back to kids. Dear Lindsay, yes, I would. Dear Lindsay, I love writing. Dear Lindsay, you are so awesome. Yes, I would love to be pen pals.
She calls her Pen Pal program for young people with alopecia Lindsay's
Little pals. We will always have a bond. I will never. I appreciate you so much, and I know that I'm so lucky to have you. Getting a letter like that is just truly the best feeling. It just makes me feel so good and that I'm really helping someone.
Someone like Molly from Minnesota.
When I first got alopecia, it was a very hard thing for me. I felt like I was the only person in the world that had it. But after I met Lindsay Walter, she helped me grow my confidence and turning alopecia into a strength.
Lindsay and her Pen Pal program has been wonderful in Molly's life.
There's some real emotional things, just kids talking about bullying and teasing, which is hard, but I think also just knowing what that was like and experiencing that firsthand, I can really say, like, I understand.
She doesn't urge them to be like her or give up a wig if they're wearing one. Lindsay does encourage everyone to take a positive self-outlook and run with it.
And the goal isn't to take off your wig, but it's to be confident in who you are.
And no matter who you are, no matter what self-doubt you carry, she believes we can all go far when we just do it our way. Run, Lindsay, run. She also writes articles for fitness magazines about her journey with alopecia. When it comes to running, Lindsay's ultimate goal is to run a 200-mile ultra marathon. Up next on the Faces of the Carolinas, we are proud of things made in our part of the country, especially the people. In one county, how homegrown teachers are showing just exactly what it means to go back to school. We'll be right back. A crop of new teachers in Lincoln County never forgot where they came from. They've come home to go back to school and pay it forward by showing students how much they care. At Lincoln County Schools, this is just the beginning of
a personal narrative. A personal narrative. A story about me. A story about me.
The story of every child is full of possibilities that'll make you say, wow.
That's good. That's detail. That's a good detail. Yeah, that's good. Wow.
And any given day at school could be a launch point.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
From here, you never know where your dreams might lead. Sometimes they might even take you full circle.
Look at you, paying attention.
Look at Destiny Johnson now. This is her back in high school. The former Lincoln County student realized her destiny.
And what is a monarchy?
She's now a 6th grade teacher at East Lincoln Middle, crediting the teachers who gave her an appreciation for the profession.
They made me feel like I belonged, and the power that they had, that now that I have relationships with them, I was like, if I can make somebody feel how I felt, how they made me feel, what better job than to do that every day?
Now this is Grace Gant's 1st grade picture at Union Elementary. Time flies, And now she teaches at her old stomping grounds.
The number 14, and all of you got that correct. Great job.
Yet also models herself after the educators who made school so much fun.
They were so nice every day they came in and just so loving. And I want to be that for a future generation.
Johnson and Gant are part of a wave of teachers who bring something new to the table.
All of you are doing a great job.
While embracing their past here. The district has a whopping 16 first-year instructors who grew up in the county and returned to make an impact.
So what two numbers can you put together to make 10?
There's Abigail Melton at GE Massey and Elizabeth Balzer, who also leads a class at GE Massey.
Vampires can't swim. Everyone knows that.
2013 Lincolnton High School graduate Lainey Perkins is a health teacher at Lincolnton Middle. Alexandra Sweat teaches at Battleground. So does Hunter Hoyle Garcia, a West Lincoln grad.
You want somebody to say, we're doing this and we're going, right?
This is Daniel Ryan back in the day. This year he began teaching JROTC at Lincolnton High. Ryan served in the Air Force for 24 years and says this was an unexpected opportunity.
I feel like I need to be here. I wanted to come back and help take care of my mom and stuff like that. So it gives me a way to be back here, to be close to family, and it also gives me a way to continue to serve.
We're just so close-knit. I just feel like a lot of people have a lot of roots here, and that's why they came back to their hometown, just to have that sense of community and belonging.
Because of those roots, Gant knows students and their families well. One boy in her class is the grandson of Gant's first grade teacher.
Dang, Benny got a paragraph already.
Back in Ms. Johnson's class, the great way she engages with students is impressive.
All right, if you know it, say it. Uniform. Thank you, right? That was the earliest form, right, of true written language.
She also sets an example for people of color.
The dynamics of this area is changing, and kids that look like me need to see me.
Familiar faces in the local school system now empower the next generation.
Just like the sparkling in their eye, just like the joy they have coming to school every day.
And this dream job couldn't be in a better location.
Because it's home, right? And I was treated well in this community.
And welcome home. Side note, Lincoln County is taking job applications no matter where you're from. Now, you're watching Carolina's own Queen City News. Our special, The Faces of the Carolinas, wraps up right after the break. I have truly enjoyed spending the last hour with you, sharing the special stories I covered in 2022. To learn more about these features, head to our website, qcnews.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to meeting more new faces in the coming year. For now, I'm John Lee. See you out there.